Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see you after my little holiday, and I know that you had some great worship with Scott the last couple of weeks. And thank you, Angela and Ruth, for that beautiful prelude. I could have listened to that for another 15 minutes. So I want to welcome you as well as folks who are part of our online community of faith. So a special welcome to those people who will be joining in worship sometime later today or tomorrow or during the week. I think we're getting a good hang of how this in-person worship works, and I think you know by now that the back rows that have the orange markers on them are the off-camera rows. If you want to be front and center and turn around and wave at the camera, then you have to come forward. One of the unexpected gifts of the pandemic in this community of faith was the rich community that developed during our Zoom coffee time on Sundays at 11. But now that we've started our in-person worship, we don't have that same time slot available to us. So we have been having our Zoom coffee times in the evenings, and it is on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. But after this week, so this week 7 p.m., after this week, we're going to move to Monday at 7 p.m. And we want you just to pass that word around to folks and join in with us. All the information for the Zoom link is in our Friday email. So please consider joining in on that rich time of building community, reflecting on our worship time, and sharing our joys and concerns with one another. We're grateful to all those who are offering leadership in our worship today and those who are helping behind the scenes. Our musicians, Angela and Ruth, and Glenn is going to be joining us at the end of the service to help us rock. And our singers today, Janet and John and Barbara. Barbara's also reading scripture. And you are welcome to sing as long as your mask is nice and snug. And also thanks to our technicians at the back, Terry and Alan. For the past few years, we've celebrated a season of creation from September through to Thanksgiving. And this year, for a variety of reasons, we did not celebrate a season of Thanksgiving. The lectionary readings for today, however, offer us a perfect opportunity to focus on the wondrous gift of creation and to give thanks to God, who created the universe as an expression of love. So let us worship and give thanks to God, who continues to create in love and who calls us to live and serve with love and respect for creation. We acknowledge today that the sacred land where we gather, where we live, work, play, and pray is the unceded, traditional, and ancestral home of the Semiahmoo First Nation and other Coast Salish peoples. We give thanks for their careful stewardship of the land and waters, and for the teachings of the elders who remind us that we are all connected. Listen now to the opening verses of one of the creation stories from Genesis. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Many years later, John adapted the creation story to express his understanding of Christ. In the beginning was the Word. the Logos, or blueprint. And the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. Through the Logos, or blueprint, all things came into being. Life came into being, and the life was the light of all people. The Logos became flesh in Jesus and lived among us, and we have seen his glory. We welcome the light of Christ, the eternal light of love, our source of grace and truth. Let's begin to sing our praise this morning with number 30 in More Voices. It's a song of praise to the Maker. More Voices, number 30. And let's stand as we sing this.
It's a song of praise to the Maker. The thrush sings high in the tree. It's a song of praise to the Maker. The raven sings in the sea. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the holy cry. And sing, sing, sing to the Maker too. It's the call of life to the giver, when waves and waterfalls flow. It's the call of life to the giver, when high tides break on the shore. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the holy cry. And sing, sing, sing to the Maker It's a hymn of love to the lover, the bumblebees how long. It's a hymn of love to the lover, the summer breeze joins the song. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voice to the holy cry. And sing, sing, sing to the Maker too. It's the chorus of all creation. It's sung by all living things. It's the chorus of all creation. A song who never sings. And by the Spirit, you and I can join our voices to the holy cry. And sing, sing, sing to the Maker too.
Let us continue to pray. O creating and loving God, it is good to be able to sing our praise and thank you for the diversity, complexity, and interconnectedness of the world in which we live. We thank you for the mystery and bounty of the earth, for the wonder and beauty of all living things. In our quest to explore and understand it, keep us mindful of our place in your world. that we are just one of the millions of different species on this planet. You have blessed us with life, with possibilities and responsibilities. As we worship, draw us closer to your mystery and your majesty, and deepen our love for you, and deepen our love for all that you have created. Through Christ we pray. Amen.
Good morning. 2 weeks ago, we heard the opening scene of the book of Job, where God and Satan enter into a deal to test how faithful Job really is by causing him to suffer greatly. After more than 30 chapters of discussion and debate between Job and his friends, trying to make sense about this age-old question of suffering, God finally appears on the scene to respond. Sorry. So I'm reading from Job 38, verses 1 to 7 and 34 to 41. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up your loins like a man. I'll question you, and you shall declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding, who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were the bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the heavenly beings shouted for joy. Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, so that a flood of waters may cover you? Can you send forth lightnings, so that they may go and say to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inner parts, or given understanding to the mind? Who has the wisdom to number the clouds, or who can tilt the water skins of the heavens when the dust runs into a mass and the clods cling together? Excuse me. Can you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in their dens or lie in wait in their covert? Who provides for the raven its prey when its young ones cry to God and wonder about the lack of food? I'm sorry. Pardon? No, it's okay. I'll be fine. Thank you. We'll now read Psalm 104, verses 1 to 9, 24, 33, and 35. And you'll find these on the screen. No, not on the screen? Okay, I guess I'm reading the whole thing. Why don't you come and do that? Excuse me. Oh, okay. You've got it there.
Okay, good. So we'll be responsible to do that to listen.
Okay. Bless the Lord, O my soul.
O Lord, my God, you are very great. You are clothed with honor and majesty.
Wrapped in light as with a garment, you stretch out the heavens like a tent.
You set the beams of your chambers on the waters. You make the clouds your chariot. You ride on the wings of the wind.
You make the winds your messengers, fire and flame your ministers.
You set the earth on its foundations, so that it shall never be shaken.
You cover it with the deep as with a garment the water stood above the mountains.
At your rebuke they flee. At the sound of your thunder they take to flight.
They rose up to the mountains, ran down to the valleys, to the place where you appointed for them.
You set a boundary that they may not pass. so that they might not again cover the earth.
O Lord, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your creatures.
I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. I will sing praise to my God while I have being.
Bless the Lord, O my soul.
Praise the Lord. Let's join
Go-
in singing hymn number
217.
217 in Voices United. All creatures
creatures.
of our God and King, and we'll omit verse 3.
All creatures of our God and King, lift up your voice and with us sing. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Bright burning sun with golden beam, soft shining moon with silver gleam. Sing praises, sing praises. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Rushing waves and breezes strong, clouds that hide the winds along. Sing praises, hallelujah. Rising morning praise rejoice. All nights of evening find a voice. Sing praises, sing praises. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And everyone of tender heart, forgiving others, take your part. Sing praises, hallelujah. All who longing and sorrow bear, praise God and heal of all your care. Sing praises, sing praises. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Let all things their Creator bless, and worship God in humble depths. Sing praises, hallelujah. Praise God eternal, praise the Son, and praise the Spirit, three in one. Sing praises, sing praises. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
It feels like there's a huge disconnect between our two scriptures today. We have this beautiful hymn of praise to God, the Creator, and then this passage from Job. Poor Job. He suffered 3 major tragedies. He's lost his health, his wealth, and his children. And of course, he wants to know why. Why has this happened? He's poured his heart out, he's cried out to God, he's defended his integrity and challenged his so-called comforters. And now, after thousands and thousands of words of chatter among Job and his friends, and discussion about strategies for approaching God, God finally appears out of the whirlwind. But God does not have any answers for Job. God has questions for him. Who are you? Where were you when I was laying the foundation of the earth? What do you know about the intricacies and immensity of my interconnected creation? He doesn't say it exactly that way, but that's the point. Can you lift your voice to the clouds, or do any of the other things that are listed in many more voices than what we heard in today's reading? One theologian suggests that God takes an enormous risk in asking these questions of Job. Will Job ever want to have anything to do with God again if God responds not about Job's why, but about the grandeur and beauty and order of creation? If asking why is some feeble human attempt to get control of life and bring it to sense and better management, God's response gives humanity even less sense of control than before. In fact, human concerns are completely peripheral in God's queries to Job. God has a universe to run, and human beings are only one among many species to be tended. So will it be a comfort to Job to know that his concerns are infinitesimally minor in the grand scheme of things? Will Job be able to see beyond his suffering and celebrate the wonders of creation and the majesty of the Creator? Will Job be able to bless God and sing his praise? It seems like the psalm for today might just be a continuation of the conversation between God and Job, between God and us, when we are struggling with those unanswerable questions of why we suffer. The psalm directs us to look at God rather than ourselves. The psalm begins and ends with a summons to the self to embrace, affirm, and celebrate Yahweh, the same God who answered Job out of the whirlwind. We're invited to come face to face with the wonder of creation and with the Creator God who orders and guarantees that life-giving wonder. Now, the opening of the psalm doesn't linger over the self, but moves to Yahweh, who is acknowledged as my God, even as Yahweh is seen to be the God of all creatures. As Walter Brueggemann says, the mood and voice of this doxology unite in the unrestrained ceding of self over to the true subject of praise. And of course, it is God who is the source of praise, the subject of praise. God is the subject of all the great verbs in this doxology. You stretch, set, make, ride, and cover. You stretch out the heavens. You make the clouds your chariot. You ride on the wings of the morning. You set the earth on its foundations. All of this is God's work. In verse 24, we hear the divine name again. Yahweh, how manifold are your works. The divine name at the beginning and end of these verses, which we heard today, form an envelope. And within that envelope, we have the wonder of creation. The psalm offers a strong conviction that the creation reveals the Creator. Now, it's one thing to read and speak of creation or sing of creation. It's another thing altogether to go outside, or if you can't go outside, to stand by your window or your door and look outside, even on a rainy day, to experience God's creation, to hear and see and smell and touch and maybe even taste. And through these experiences, perhaps to be transformed. You may have seen the announcements about Wild Church. That's what Wild Church is about. It's an opportunity for us to be out in creation, to pay attention, to listen for what the Holy One is telling us, to look for the fingerprints of God. Wild Church is happening this afternoon. It happens once a month on the third Sunday. And I hope that you might join me for a slow walk, a saunter, to wander and walk in a slow, relaxed manner. That is such a wonderful word, saunter. It comes from a French phrase, à la saintière, to the Holy Land. As we saunter, we are reminded that all our steps are on holy ground, the holy ground of God's creation. As we slow down, we have the opportunity to see and to love what is, to see and love what God has made, to see and celebrate the fingerprints of God in the natural world. I know many of you do this kind of thing already. We have friends who go for a daily walk in the forest behind their home or wherever they happen to be visiting. They go out open to see and experience what they name as God's art studio. What will we see today in God's studio? They were telling me about a recent walk in an Ontario forest where they were introduced to a life form that was new to them. It was this clump of fuzzy white stuff on some twigs and branches. They weren't sure whether it was a plant or an animal. So they managed to take out one little tiny one and took it home to their friends who had a microscope, and they looked at it under the microscope, and they discovered that it was an animal. And they looked it up and discovered it's called the woolly aphid. Has anyone ever encountered a woolly aphid? Well, check it out, Google it. So this little woolly aphid, as a form of protection against those vicious, hungry ladybugs, exudes this little white balloon, cottony or woolly balloon from its butt. And then they all gather together, and they're very unappealing that way, and so they are safe from the ladybugs. You never know what you're going to encounter when you're in God's amazing world. I'm excited about what we might discover this afternoon when we gather at the Semiahmoo Fish and Game Club, which is on 184th Street, just south of 16th. 2:00. This is my plug. What I've learned from the volunteers at the Semiahmoo Fish and Game Club is that there is a good chance we might see some salmon traveling up the Little Campbell River today, because they love this type of weather. There's more water in the river, and it's a little bit murkier, and that offers them protection. But what other fingerprints of God might we experience? Our psalm concludes in verse 35 with words of praise that echo verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul. And again, the psalm refers to the self, my soul. But we may imagine that the self has been transformed through reciting the psalm, through experiencing and remembering God's creation. The self has been resituated in God's world, with God at the center. So the singers can leave behind their unanswerable questions. Why do we suffer? Who are we in this vast universe? And instead of worrying, perhaps they may simply experience the blessing of God and the wonder of creation. The psalm helps us to reorient our perspective in the world. Another poet, William Stafford, helps us reorient our perspective with this short poem. Yes, it could happen anytime. Tornado, earthquake, Armageddon. It could happen. Or sunshine, love, salvation. It could, you know. That's why we wake and look out. No guarantees in this life, but some bonuses, like morning, like right now, like noon, like evening. In our scriptures today, God has no interest in explaining creation. Rather, God redirects our attention from explaining to exploring and experiencing the wonder of God in creation. It's a gift to us to shift our perspective so that we might remember that we are one of God's fingerprints in this vast and amazing universe. And an appropriate response to this astounding revelation is to bless the Holy One who creates and gives life. So I would invite you to join me in blessing the Holy One with a simple chant that comes from the Teze community. And we will sing it through, the whole thing through 3 times. And let's stay seated for this as we bless God.
Bless God's holy name.
So I invite us now to join in the prayers of the people. There will be a moment, or the beginning part of the prayer will be prayers of thanksgiving. So I invite you to offer aloud or in silence your prayers of thanksgiving. And then we'll have prayers of concern, of petition for people and situations in the world. And I will name some, and again, I invite you to name aloud those individuals, those places, those situations which are on your heart. Then we'll close our prayer by saying together the Lord's Prayer. How wonderful are the works of your hands, O God. In wisdom and love you have made them all. And you have given us your Spirit to sustain and renew us. So we take this moment to offer our thanks for life and love and beauty and the wonder and miracles of your creation. We give thanks for the rain, for falling leaves, spawning salmon, and woolly aphids. And aloud or in silence, we name that for which we are grateful.
Thank you for nature's ability to heal.
For a new grandchild coming in March.
For a great grandchild coming in March.
We're grateful, O God, for people in our lives who have helped us to know you better. We're grateful for faithful servants within your church. We give thanks for Ruby Cram, a longtime member of the former Crescent congregation who died recently. And we pray for her family and friends who miss her. We pray for others we know who are grieving losses of many kinds. We pray for John Bateman and his family as they continue to grieve the death of Mary Fran, and now also the death of their young dog this past week.
For the family of Tim Cole, his mom Jean, and his brothers and sisters, and his brother.
We pray for those we know who are struggling with illness or injury. For those who carry burdens. For those who struggle with addictions. We pray for Pat Anderson and Helen Virgo, who are both recovering from hip surgery. And we pray for Helen and Ed's granddaughter, Kira, who suffered a grand mal seizure on Thursday. We pray for Sylvia Urine and others we know who are receiving cancer treatment. We pray for individuals and communities across our country and around the world that continue to have high rates of COVID infections and all of the worry and disruption that causes, and also the death that is causing. We pray for your world, a creation that has been battered and abused by our human activity. We pray for people, animals, and plants who have experienced the devastation of fire and drought, floods, extreme weather. We pray for the people of Iqaluit who have been without clean water for a number of days now. And we know that they are one of many communities in our country who do not have safe, clean water. And we offer aloud or in silence other concerns that have come to mind that are weighing on our hearts. Holy One, we offer all of these prayers in the name of Jesus, our light and our hope. And we pray together the words he taught his disciples long ago. Our Father and Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Creation reminds us of God's generosity and invites us to live with thanksgiving, offering our gifts in return. So as our offerings are brought forward, let's stand and sing together, Let All Things Now Living, Voices United 242.
Let all things now living, a song of thanksgiving to God our Creator.
invite you to stay standing for the blessing and for Glenn to come forward to get us ready to sing our final, another version of Bless the Lord. Quite different than the Teze one. So friends, now may the blessing of God who made us in love and made us for relationship with one another and all creation, the blessing of Jesus, whose footprints are deep on the earth and deep in our hearts, and the blessing of the Spirit who blows through us and all around us, go with us this day and every day. Go, blessed people of God. Go and be a blessing. Amen. This song is in More Voices, number 46, if you want to follow along, or just follow along on the screen. And we got some funky syncopated clapping going on that you can join us in once you... It's a participation song. Yeah. And you have to at least tap your toe, but you're welcome to do more. And there's lots of room up front if you feel the urge to really get it on. Friends, go out to bless the Lord, and may the peace of Christ be with you. Let's turn and share Christ's peace with one another in a safe manner. Peace of Christ be with you, Glenn. Peace of Christ be with you, Barbara. Peace be with you, John.
Christ be with you, Glenn. Thank you so much.
Peace of Christ be with you.